Investing 101, we do these classes every second Wednesday of the month. We have different special guests that come in to share kind of their knowledge with you guys, to hopefully that you guys can take what you're learning from, learn from each other here, and real estate invest kind of smarter, quicker, better based on, you know, lessons learned from everyone else. So a little disclaimer that we're real estate professionals when we talk about tax and legal things today, but you know, we obviously talk to the professionals when it comes to the details of that. Alright, so just a quote to start off: winners are not afraid of losing, but losers are. Failure is part of the process of success. People who avoid failure also avoid success. I think as I talk to different investors, we deal with a lot of newbie investors, you know, fear is the biggest part of why people don't get started. But I can guarantee, I can calculate your returns real quick if you don't get started, and that's gonna be nothing, right? And you will make mistakes, but hopefully coming to these types of classes and learning from people who've done it, people like Nicole who are super experienced in investing, you can get better and do it quicker. And if you guys haven't read Rich Dad Poor Dad, definitely a book to check out that will help you kind of understand investing at a high level, not just real estate investing, and how you can make your money work for you versus working for your money. Has anyone read that book? Lots in here. All right, great. So I already introduced myself. Why did I get into this? I used to be in corporate America. I'm a CPA. Started investing 20 years ago, and more because I was kind of forced to by my father-in-law, because they don't teach you how to invest in school, right? So, but over the years realized, this gave me options, right? So when my kids were getting crazy schedules, I was able to leave my corporate job and come do this job, which is way more flexible and way more fun. So that's why I'm here. And Karin and I met, and we decided we are both super passionate about real estate investing, and there is just a lack of financial education out there. And we wanted to bring in this community of people to share amongst each other and bring in the experts, all these special guests we have coming up. We got lawyers, CPAs, property managers, short-term property managers, all to share their expertise with you. This is Karin and I's 5 steps to successful real estate investing. The bottom here is kind of what we offer. So this is our investor education, like I mentioned, second Wednesday of every month. We also do investor consultation.
Sorry, will you be sharing this so we can focus more on this, not notes?
Yes, I can send this to you as long as you mark it on the sign-up sheet. Yep.
Thank you.
So investor consultations are when Karin and I sit down with you. It takes about an hour and a half. We kind of series of random questions that we ask you, and at the end we've got whether you're ready to invest or not, and if you are not, what do you need to do to get there? We help you with that plan. If you are, what is the right investment for you, and how do we get there? What are the steps? We also have an investor analysis sheet that helps you calculate all your returns on your properties, and we also do real estate reviews. So if you have a current property currently, that was a good use of words. If you own a home and you have equity in it, which many people do if they live in Colorado and bought in the last few years, what is that equity that you could potentially get a HELOC and pull out and use for future investing? So that's that. Our next class is going to be on buying and managing short-term rentals. So you can scan this QR code to sign up for that. For those who came from Meetup, this will also be posted on Meetup as well. This is the Eventbrite link. And we have Evolve, which is a national short-term rental management company. So if you don't want to manage it yourself, they are out there. And then we have a Facebook group. So if you guys want to join the Facebook group, this is where all the recordings of the videos go. So if you missed a class, this is how you can get to it. And that's it. So I'm going to introduce our guest. Our special guest, Nicole Ruth, is here. Get your slides going. So Nicole is an investor herself. 24 properties, is that right?
Yes,
24 properties. You started how long ago?
14 years ago.
14 years ago. And she's also the #1 lender in Colorado. She understands investing. Not all lenders do. And you can get yourself in a bind or not make the best return if you're not using the right lender. So I'm gonna let her speak because she's way better than I am. So everyone, from Nicole. Do you want me to do slides for you? You don't want to stand over here.
No, do you have a clicker by chance or no? That's okay, I'm good. Actually
Let
sit
me
over
give
here
you
for a minute.
this though, because this will make sure that we can hear you on the video.
So hi, good evening, you guys. So I texted these guys just a little while ago and I said, are we still doing this class? And they're like, well, yeah, because they're up here. Does anybody come from the down south? It was literally like a snowstorm down there. I don't know how far south you came. Apple-sized hail. That's what they said on the news. Apple-sized. Cranapple? Or is it like more of a honeydew? Like what? Pineapple? So we were trying to debate, but then my husband took a video and he was like literally making paths with snow blowing up. And that was like an hour ago. So, but here we are. So I'm a lender by trade. I'm an investor by design. I'm the proud mom of 3 21-year-olds who bought their first investment. And I'll give you like the really cliff notes on how we got here. And then we're going to talk about investing out of state because the idea of investing in Denver has become more challenging. Would you guys agree with that? Who in here owns an investment today? You 4, 5. Okay, 6. Thank you. All right. And then like how many investments? How many investments do you own? 1. 4. Okay. All here in Denver? No? 1 in Denver. Okay. Where's the other 3? In Mexico. Do those count? No, okay. Yes, they do.
They do when you expense the flights.
They do when you expense the flight. In fact, they might even be better than mine. I wouldn't go travel to mine. So they're on federal. So the idea of investing out of state isn't necessarily one that you romanticize, right? It's not a desire unless you want to buy a property that's like in a second home space, and you might want that home in like say Tennessee where you want to go vacation to it, or up in the mountains, or in Mexico. You might want to do something out of state for that reason, but it's become more important to go out of state just in order to cash flow and to appreciate. But the whole out of state thing comes with a whole ton of risk. So the question is does the reward outweigh the risk? And are you looking at the right things that are going to get you to the finish line? So that's what we're going to kind of talk about today. I'm going to show you a couple of different sources that you can go see, like where's getting the best appreciation, where's getting the best cash flow, what are the emerging markets, where I might do some research on the areas, and what might I research? That's what we're going to talk about. Does that kind of fit what you guys came to hear about? Okay. Yes. Emphatic yes. Okay, good. But the idea is that we can come up with a whole lot of excuses on why not to invest right now, because the prices are high and the interest rates are high, and you can't even quite get the rental income to offset it. Even though the rents went way up, now they're starting to come back down again. They're not going to come back down as soon as all the landlords. I got all of my tax bills in the mail. Did you guys get your tax bills in the mail? I got all my tax bills in the mail. Yeah, so that made me want to throw up. And then immediately I started thinking, oh, now I got to raise my rents because these guys are not paying enough. So it's a challenging market right now, to say the least. But the idea that you pause does not gain you anything really other than more expense. Now, I would say pause to make the right decision, but don't pause waiting for something to happen. This isn't the market where you pause saying, I'm going to wait for interest rates to drop. I'm going to wait for prices to drop. I'm going to wait for rents to go up. I'm going to wait for that better deal to come up, because I'm going to tell you it's only going to get more expensive from here. In fact, real estate historically always goes up. It always goes up. Now, we had a dip from 2007 to 2012. And so we saw that dip. But if you still hold a property today that you bought at the height of the market in 2005, then you have a home that's worth 150 to 250% of what you paid for it, depending on where you bought it. It always goes up. You just have to be able to wait through that period. You have to be able to absorb any missing rents or vacancies, and you have to be able to know the market and which direction it's going. Where is the unemployment stable? Where is the job market stable? Where are wages going up? Where is there a lack of housing? Where is maybe building not keeping up with housing? These are all the things. If you want to invest out of Denver, you want to know that. Now, if you want to invest in Denver, you just want to call me because I'll tell you what it is, right? Because that's what I do. All 24 doors of mine are here in Denver. I have 2 commercial buildings. Those are in Kansas City. I'm doing fantastic on those. And then I've helped all 3 of my kids at age 21 purchase their first homes because I believe in real estate. And then I purchased my mom a home in Florida. I hate Florida. Sucks. But I did it anyway because that's where she wanted to live. So I have property in Florida. So there you go. Real estate isn't about the money though, because really, realistically, everybody's getting caught up in that. Now, it depends on your goals. So if I have a goal to quit my job next year, real estate's about the money. I better cash flow if I want to quit my job next year. But if I want to plan it out, it's really about the options real estate gives me. I don't need to retire yet. I'm not planning on retiring for another 10 years. It's about the options I want when I retire. In fact, I built my whole portfolio around it. All of them are fully paid off at the age I want to retire. And I bought them that way. I bought them in order that the rents could pay off the mortgages on an accelerated appreciation and get me to my end goal. And then all the rents added together give me my monthly income that I plan for, that I want during retirement. I mean, it's a very strategic, planned out approach. It has nothing to do with cap rate. I couldn't give a shit what cap rate is. I don't even know what it is on any of my properties because it doesn't matter if it hits my goal, right? So you have to have specific goals. Then you have to find the market that meets your goals. And then you have to actively manage, purchase, and start to accumulate to match those goals. But you have to take action because the longer you sit on the sidelines, especially in this market, that property, especially as interest rates drop, is going to cost you more. With like 99% certainty, I can say that. You can't say anything with 100% certainty, but with 99% certainty, there is a lot of demand. Investors continue to buy into the market, a substantial percentage buying into the market. And you have the number 1 age demographic right now is age 33. The number 2, 21. You have 33-year-olds. The average first-time home buyer is 34. And gosh darn it, those Gen Zers are coming up right behind it and they want to own. They are learning it so much faster than their older brothers, and they're even doing it faster than their parents. They have a higher home ownership rate at their age than the Gen X did, my generation, and they're doing it faster than millennials. So depending on what kind of rental you're wanting to buy, if it's a single family or a duplex, something that a first-time home buyer might like to get into, you got a lot of competition coming as soon as the interest rates drops into the 5s. Now, you want to buy a small apartment building or something like that, that changes things, right? That's not what I'm talking about. So real estate isn't about the money. It's about options. It's about the ability to give you access to the equity, to the income. I can sell it. I can 1031 exchange it. I can live off of the income. I can cash out, refinance it with no taxable hit. I can give it to my kids with a step up in value so that they never pay capital gains. I can do so many things with the real estate that I own that I couldn't do if I was just banking on my 401k or my IRA or my stock, right? That, and don't get me started on Bitcoin because I've lost all of that. So, all right. So here we go. So really quickly, the probability of a recession. So this is as of the 4th quarter 2022, the 1st quarter 2023, it's gone up to 65%. I only say that, we all are thinking it, that a recession is coming. I don't want to purchase right in front of a recession because if a recession comes and the economy slows, are the prices of homes going to drop? Am I going to lose my opportunity and am I going to lose value if I buy now? I would tell you, you want to buy now because interestingly enough, outside of 2008, home values go up during recessions because interest rates go down. More people, the people who have jobs that want to invest in real estate, are buying during recessions because they can buy more bang for the buck, right? Theoretically. Now, the prices are going to go up, so you have a lower interest rate, so the monthly payment is lower, but the prices are going to go up. You want to be on this side of the recession, not the other. On the other side of the recession, you've got a lot of first-time home buyers who are going to take advantage of those lower interest rates, and you have a lot of other investors who are still too scared to jump in who will. So you guys need to take action. Because you're here, don't go home and go, that sounded really great, I'm going to think about it later. I need you guys to start taking action, and if you need to call me and have me kick you in the ass, I will gladly do it, right? Because if that helps you meet your goals faster, I'm all in. Because I'm a lender, I get paid if I get to do your loan. I get paid spiritually, and it helps me sleep better at night knowing I help more people gain the kind of wealth. I mean, I grew up on food stamps. Nobody fed me any silver spoon. I built all of this because I believed in it and I attacked it. Somebody opened the door and I walked through it. Right? That's how it happens. It doesn't happen any other way. And we have so little inventory. Nationwide, we have the lowest inventory that we've ever had. It's not just Denver. It's everywhere. You're not going to go run, well, I'm going to leave Denver. I'm going to go to Kansas City. I'm going to get a deal because they got a lot of inventory. Nobody's got any inventory right now. We can't build fast enough, which is going to continue to prop up home prices. In fact, as a country, we're 3 to 7 million short in housing. That supports you guys. They're not building land anymore. The cost of real estate will continue to go up. The value of your net worth will continue to expand no matter where you buy it. Now, it will expand better and higher if you choose wisely. So your real estate chooser's got to be a little bit better than my stock chooser, right? Because you guys have to be armed with the information. My stock chooser's broken. Like, you're like, what does that mean? It's long broken. But my real estate chooser's really good because I continue to buy where unemployment is low, where education is higher, where there's continued jobs. I always buy properties that have a backyard because, especially Coloradoans, we love our dogs, right? I have a type. I have an investment type that when it comes on the market, I jump on it. So that you start to build that type, you start to know, well, I like Kansas City, I like Phoenix, I like North Dakota. Don't do that. There's not enough people there. I like Indiana or Iowa, or I've got family in Cleveland or whatever that is. You got to figure out what is the network that you're trying to build and what is it that's attracting you there, and are they the things that are going to continue to increase the value? Because your ability to take advantage of the right now is your ability to, while other people are sitting on the sidelines, to increase your net worth. All right, I'm gonna go through this really fast because you guys know it. A good chunk of you guys already have investment properties, but I'm gonna say this list and you guys can read it too. But I think you need to think of it in terms of locale. So when we talk about the potential for appreciation and property value, a phenomenal benefit, but I will get more benefit from that in Denver than I will in Kansas City. I'll get more benefit from that in Kansas City than I will in Montana, right? So where and why is that important to me, and how do I measure that based on where I'm going? And I'll show you a couple places where you can do that. Regular rental income. Am I positioning myself near a hospital or near, I've got a girlfriend that's buying up single family homes that she's midterm renting in Pueblo, but near the hospital because, what is it? PCL, one of the big hospitals just went down and bought the hospital in Pueblo. So it's, do I have regular rental income? Do I have a source? Am I by a university? Am I by a hospital? Am I by something that's going to continue to provide? Am I by just public transportation? Look at that for where you're going to. My first property that I bought out of the area was in Colorado Springs, which doesn't seem that far away, but it is dang near another state. So I bought it in Colorado Springs in an area that I later learned was called Heroin Alley. That stung multiple ways. Right? That it was constantly turning over. It was constantly getting trashed. It was just awful. It was a pit. And so I sold it. Luckily, we made enough in appreciation that I didn't lose money, but I didn't gain much either. But I took that and I took that one fourplex and I bought two fourplexes. A 1031 exchange, I bought two fourplexes back up in Denver. And I was like, I'm out. I'm going to buy where I know, or where you have people and circles where they can feed you that information. Tax benefits are universal. Forced savings plan, because that's constantly, that principal is getting deducted every single month. The power of leverage is going to be benefited from that appreciation. So I can put a smaller amount down and still get the appreciation on the higher amount, right? So if I buy a $600,000 asset, but I only put 20% down, that whole $600,000 asset is appreciating. Unlike the stock market, if I only put 20% down, 120,000, I put that in the stock market, only the 120 is growing, not the 600. So you want to identify those appreciation areas where you're really going to capitalize on the growth of the 600. Don't just let it sit there. If you buy something on the border of like Kansas, it's going to be worth 600 when you buy it and 600 when you sell it. You're not really gaining on the opportunities of leverage. You have to just think differently if you're going to go outside of your sphere and jump into an area or a metro that you don't know. You have to just learn it. It's not impossible. People invest all across the country. Diversification, I will tell you, do not diversify by location. I literally had an investor come to me that she was on her fourth purchase and she wanted them in all different states. Diversification. I said, that is not diversification. That's mayhem. To have 4 different property managers, 4 different networks, 4 different contractors, that is a lack of discipline. It's not diversification. Diversify in the right way, right? Control, make sure you've got a grade A team. It is a long-term investment. And of course, it gives you a sense of accomplishment. Love that. Risks. So economic downturns. We will have a recession. You have to know that. It's a recession that's primarily affecting the banking industry and technology. So would I go put all of my money in California right now? No, right? Depending on where I wouldn't go buy a property where a lot of banks are. I can't even think of where that might be, but I certainly know I wouldn't put it in Silicon Valley, right? So I'm going to identify what industries would be hurt the worst by this recession when we have it. I wouldn't buy there, right? So I'd start to try to identify by understanding what's happening in the economy, just enough to understand which industries are being hurt the most. So economic downturns, it's going to impact vacation areas, short-term rentals for a short period of time, the same way it did during COVID. It impacted it for a short period of time. People got over it. They started traveling again, right? So, but if you're buying into something and you're needing that cash flow right away and we have an economic downturn and people are holding up even for 6 months, can you hold on to it without having that cash flow coming in right away? Eyes wide open, right? Natural disasters, don't buy in Florida. Changes in local zoning. Denver is starting to look a little bit more like California. Understand what the local zoning is in those areas, right? Super, super important to do your research. Somebody asked me if I was going to sell all my properties here. I was like, no. All right, because it's not all getting passed, number one. Number two, I already own them. I'm not going to sell them. But I'm going to start to pay attention to what's happening. And should I choose to buy more? I don't know yet here as we're looking at other properties in other areas. So pay attention to that, especially know it in the area. Maintenance and repair costs is obviously concern. The biggest concern with buying out of state is how much is it going to cost me if I don't live there? Especially like short-term rentals, they charge 30% to manage them. And then now you've also got areas where if you don't live in the area, you're upcharged 200% on even any repairs that might need to be done. So know that area, and do you have a network of people that can work on that place, repair it if you need to, maintain it, clean it, whatever that is. Vacancy rates, what are those? Property management, making sure that you have a network because it can be expensive. Bad property management can destroy a fantastic investment. Bad property management can destroy a fantastic investment. So if you are not buying here where you can manage it and you're relying on somebody else to be your eyes and ears and your knowledge seeker, then it better be somebody that you know, like, and trust. Because if they don't have your back, I've had too many stories where people have sold properties in other states because they thought it was a great idea, only to come back because the copper wiring got stripped, the HVAC unit got taken, the air conditioning unit, it got stripped out of all of its appliances or plumbing, and nobody knew about it because the property management folks didn't even visit it.
There's more risk, you think, out-of-state property management or tenant management?
If you allow the tenant to manage their own property?
No. Just you have to manage the tenants, whether that's finding them, placing them, dealing with them, versus managing the property itself, repairs and things like that.
I would probably say identifying a good tenant is going to probably save you on both. Right? Okay, I thought you had a question. Yeah.
A lot of people say that interviews aren't a clear indicator of good tenants, but I beg to differ.
Yeah, I'd beg to differ too. And especially if they move every single year, if you get a track record, I don't want those people. You want any kind of longevity. And if they have bad credit, I had a gal that was telling me she couldn't rent out her place. And I'm like, well, what's your criteria? She's like, well, I want them to have a 720 credit score and have a job and making, what did she tell me? 2 times or 2.5 times the rent. I'm like, girl, that's what they own a home. You need to scale that back. So go for 620, just do like a 1.5 times, right? So, but you got to be reasonable because you don't want somebody who's got bouncing checks left, right, and center and terrible credit. They're not going to take care of your place either. Financing is going to be the same anywhere you are in the country, but it's going to impact, especially right now with the higher interest rates, it's going to impact your cash flow. We will see interest rates go down. The question is to what extent, right? And so you don't know how much money you'll save. So if it doesn't cash flow now, it's a no, right? You don't buy something now with an interest rate expecting to refinance to get cash flow. You expect to get better cash flow, but don't expect it to get you cash flow because it might not happen. Nobody's guaranteeing anything. All right, market fluctuations we talked about. Interest rate risk is a risk to investments, but it's not necessarily a risk based on where you are. But starting with your goals in mind, are you looking for more cash flow? Are you looking for more appreciation? Are you 50 years old right now and you want to retire at 60? Or are you 30 years old right now and you want to retire at 60? So knowing what those goals are, do you want to have $10,000 a month from rental income or $100,000 a month from rental income? You knowing what your goals are is going to help you drive tactics and identify locations and metros that will help you reach your goals. If you don't know what your goals are, you'll land buying 4 properties in 4 different states. That's unfocused is what that is, right? So, but you have to sit back, like open up a bottle of wine, drink the whole thing, and then start talking about what your goals are. You'll open way up. Yes.
So what do you mean by diversification? It's not about buying in different states. What is it?
So diversification of real estate in and of itself is diversification. Most people have all their money in 401ks or IRAs, but I have 401ks and IRAs. I have crypto, although I regret it. I have a whole life policy. I have real estate. I have commercial and I have residential. I have single families and I have multi-units. And I have North Denver. So I have Denver on Federal up to Lafayette. So I have a couple of different areas that are closer to, like if I bought 6 fourplexes in the same circle, which I was offered, and I said, no, I'll buy 2 of the 6 because I don't want all 6 of the fourplexes on the same circle. That's not diversification. If that circle starts to bring in a bad element, I've trashed all my properties, right? So just a little bit of diversification. I've got a couple all mine are fourplexes and single families, but maybe you do, maybe you start expanding into small apartment buildings or single families or slightly different areas around town, right? Buy some by the hospital. And if you you start doing something like the Pueblo deal was a great deal. Aurora, you could do the same thing by the hospital there, buying little single families and doing midterm rentals. So maybe you have a couple midterm rentals and all the rest are long-term rentals to give you more pop in cash.
How long do you consider a midterm rental?
Anything over a month to 6 months. You do. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of great opportunities over in Wheat Ridge by
Yeah.
the new Berkshire hospital. And I showed some properties over there. So and some short-term permits left still.
Oh, nice.
So,
Yeah. No, that's fantastic. And if you do the midterm rentals and you do it like on Furnish Finders and you do Facebook Marketplace or IKEA, that kind of stuff, I mean, it's like a hotel. It's not all furnished, right? I've got a girlfriend that actually rents a 12-month lease and then she short-term rents them and midterm rents the lease. So you have to make sure that you can sublease. But she's doing that to save up money to buy her next investment property. That's not an investment strategy. That's a cash flow strategy. But if she's building up her cash flow and then buying another one, and then building up her cash flow and then buying another one, it's helping her achieve her goals. Once you get your goals focused, it's shocking how much things become available that help you reach your goals. But without a very clearly defined goal set, you tend to meander, you know? And doing your due diligence is going to be massive. The internet, when I first started investing, like it just didn't have the kind of data that it has today. But to have realtor.com, the local associations, NAR, Zillow, to be able to start searching on that area. And I'm going to show you a couple of things that I pulled out, but I would even go to like the city data and the census.gov data to figure out what the unemployment is and what the wages are and what the demographics are. They have that information. So like what we were seeing when Space Force first rolled out down in Colorado Springs, we were seeing more highly educated millennials moving to Colorado Springs, increasing the rent capacity for Colorado Springs and opening up more investment opportunities. And you got there by being one step ahead and looking at the kind of census.gov bureau information to see, okay, what's the median income in this area? What's the age demographics in this area? And then you could look at the import and export, well, the population gain and loss, right? The net population gain. So all of that you can kind of get there. Online rental property platforms like Rent-A-Meter is great. But many times I'll even use, I'll go through, I don't have access to the MLS, but I have access to RE Colorado. And mostly I'm buying here, but you can get access to any MLS anywhere in the country through their consumer facing sites. So by accessing the MLS, the data, and starting to look at what kind of properties are available, what do they go for, and then using Zillow as if you were a renter, saying I'm looking to rent a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, or I'm looking to rent like a townhome, would be similar to a fourplex. Right, I'm looking to rent a townhome that's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, or 3-bedroom, 2-bath. What would that go for? And then looking at the pictures to see what kind of condition that kind of rent requires. Yes.
With all these different data sources, do you have something yourself to consolidate all this information and curate this information that allows you to look at it and say, okay, the numbers make sense to me?
Yeah. So there's probably something out there, but I would imagine that each of those consolidated formats are specific to an area. It's probably one person consolidating that information and selling you Phoenix.
Where you gather all the information from these different sources,
Yeah.
and you plug them in, right? And high level, it spits out a score that you go, okay, that's enough for me.
That's awesome. That's a moneymaker idea right there. Yeah, I don't have that.
It sounds like a $500 a year tool.
Could be. Guess you get together after the class. No, I agree. And
How do you take all of these different data sources and compile a holistic picture that allows you to have the confidence in property?
so we have a spreadsheet that we can share with you guys that identifies the metrics that I'm looking for, towards and the goals that I set. I have a Yes, you've got to have your goals. But as far as the metrics on if I'm looking for a certain amount of unemployment or certain income or certain median, I'm not going across the country looking at different areas and trying to determine which area is going to give me the best score. We invested in Kansas City because we had a network there. It's super important to me. I'm not going to go research someplace. I'm not going to go research Boise, Idaho, which I've been told is a fantastic place where you can get a lot of appreciation and buy a rental property. I've heard that and it went right by me because I don't have a network there. I don't know the area there. There are just as good of, it's not like one area is the best. You have different areas that have different strengths and you'll go after that. But I would start first with where my networks are. Where do I have the faith and trust in the people that can help me sustain that property when I buy it? Okay. All right. How are we doing on time? How much time do I have left? Faster? Okay. So I'm done. No. All right. So really quickly. Huh?
I like somebody's like
I know. So one of the other things with the rules, and I'm not going to go through each one of them because you know what they are, but one of the things with identifying first your goals, then your rules, then what areas match those rules, right? Because if I want to do some sort of a fix and flip, I'm probably going to go to the network that I have all of the maintenance crew and the people that I trust and the contractors that I can turn something quickly. If I want to do something like an Airbnb, I'm going to go someplace that has seasonal opportunity for rentals, right? So I'm going to choose some of the areas based on the rules, which were first based on the goals. Do it in the right order and you'll have more success. But there's so many things that you can do and opportunities to purchase. Like you could literally just spend all of your investment dollars on land, on single families, on multi-units. But choose a rule. This is that whole thing about diversification as well. This is not something I would diversify in. I wouldn't want to have a land here, a fourplex there, a small apartment building there, like, because I don't know the metrics on all of them. And I don't want to keep up with the metrics on what makes it successful. I can tell you literally in 30 seconds or less what makes a fourplex successful because I know them inside and out because I own so many of them. So learn the thing that you're buying and then attack that and make sure that everything else lines up. Does the product, does the strategy, does the area, the location, and does it match your goals? All of that should line up. And if you want to do anything like one-on-one, right, and sit down and figure out what my personal goals are, I'm happy to sit down with you. I know with 100% certainty, Amy's willing to sit down with you and Karen's willing to sit down with you. But having somebody to bounce your ideas off of or your networks personally, it's good to have somebody to do this. All right, so yeah.
1 hour to define your goals and your plan.
I love that. All right. So identifying where the highest appreciation states are. In fact, every single quarter, Realtor.com and the Wall Street Journal come together and they put together a chart and they define what are the most beneficial appreciating and cash flow states. So this is based on their most recent data. They're looking at, what are the top appreciating states? What are the top cash flowing states? And interestingly enough, they're not the same, which shouldn't be a surprise. Huh? Where are the? Yeah, I don't even know her. That's funny. I think, oh, that's on both of them. I think that was my cursor mistake. But it is important that it matches up with your cash flow or with your goal set, and you start to identify. I got a lot of people buying in Oklahoma right now. Tulsa is doing a ton of money, pouring into their money in order to attract millennials. That's a great thing to know too. Who's doing that? Kansas City just went through a whole remodel. Tulsa's going through a whole revitalization. So there are definitely some areas that are doing it. I mean, Ohio, they got a ton of suicides. I don't know that I'd buy there. Like kind of knowing what is behind the areas too is going to be super helpful. And this is where they kind of overlap. Where do you get strong appreciation and good cash flow? Like, I mean, where are you kind of in the middle? And so it goes through and it does that as well. So very cool information to have. And then they also put together Realtor.com and Wall Street Journal, and this is their most recent one. It was just put out, a couple weeks ago, is the top 20 ranking emerging housing markets. So if you're looking in Lafayette, Indiana, Bloomington, Illinois, a lot of the flyover states here, Topeka, Kansas, as you can imagine, because you can get more cash. You can get more product for your cash, right, in a state like that. And if the city is putting money into their infrastructure, it is really a win. These subsidiary markets also is attracting a lot of the younger Gen Z and millennials because they don't want to be in the middle of Denver anymore. They don't want to be in the middle of Chicago anymore, especially after COVID. They want access, but they want access in a smaller town feel. So it's not a surprise that we're seeing some of these secondary markets.
I'm surprised Detroit isn't on the list anymore.
As far as an emerging market?
housing market. I
Yeah.
know back in 2010.
Yeah.
I don't know about now though.
Yeah, it was a few years ago. And then having a strong A team is super, super important. So wherever you decide to invest, you absolutely need to make sure that you have that A team available. So who's your contractor? Who's your real estate agent? Who's your lender? I'm licensed in all 50 states. I'm just saying. Who's the property manager? Probably one of the biggest decisions that you'll make. Do not find them on Google. You want it somebody that you know, like, and trust, somebody that was referred to you. Remember, a bad property manager can destroy a fantastic property. So who's that network? Who's your CPA? Who understands that state's taxes and requirements? And then who's your attorney? Who understands what regulations are getting changed and what might be happening with the tenant laws? Just super important. Like, you don't want to delay for years while you're setting up your A team, but you better have your A team before you put a lot of money into something that might end up sinking on you if you choose wrong. Yes.
On the attorney note,
Yeah.
is there a good go-to resource as far as what local laws and regulations are from a renter lender or renter landlord perspective?
They are county specific and state specific. So there's no one like encyclopedia for across the country. Like, you need a Wikipedia for that. That's another moneymaker.
Recently, I found that Google the county name,
Yeah.
and that's it. And if you go to like Denver, or recently I've been looking in Missouri for something unrelated, but the information that's available on the county site itself
Yeah.
has been extremely easy to access and helpful.
Absolutely. Understood. It depends kind of on the county, though. You're not going to find that in Clear Creek County.
Right.
Right? So it just depends on where you're going and where you're looking for it. All right. So with that, I'm going to kind of wrap it up. I mean, there's the financing and those kinds of things that I'm just not going to talk about here because there are so many options, and that goes nationwide. But if you guys, and I'm happy to do this, if you share the spreadsheet and I get your email address, this is the goal spreadsheet that my husband and I put in. I didn't have anything to do with it, that my husband created. He's an Excel wizard and I'm not, but I talk a lot when I talk longer on goal set. And so this gold box right here, when I retire, what's my cash flow? What's my property value based on the properties that I purchased, based on inflation and interest rate and rent increases and those kinds of things. So you can model out 3 properties. So this isn't supposed to be a property management tool. It's not supposed to, as you keep managing it, this is to identify the properties and do they help you achieve your goals. And we can send that out if I share the spreadsheet. And there's my contact information. Thank you very much.